So I just got done watching the Ford EcoBoost 400 from Homestead Miami Speedway, otherwise known as the Championship 4 race for the NASCAR Cup Series for 2019. The 2019 champion has been declared, and as you guys probably saw, I'm going to try and maybe, if YouTube will let me get away with it, getting a clip in at the beginning of the video of who the champion was. But as you guys can probably tell, I'm pretty happy about the championship. So Kyle Busch, he was able to get the race win and the championship done this year at Homestead, Miami. So Kyle Busch, once again, that's his second championship, second race win at the track. Of course, I think he was probably the fourth string on anybody's list for who was going to be the champion this year, and Kyle Busch walked out with the championship in the M&M's colors. Of course, he had to outdo Kevin Harvick, MTJ, and Denny Hamlin. And to be honest, I think it was just a game of the one person who didn't make a mistake all day. I mean, I can't name a single time Kyle Busch slipped up in tonight's race. I mean, I can pretty easily point to points where pretty much every other driver in the field had a slip up, and I will do later in this video. I mean, except for like Harvick, I can't really point to an exact moment, but I can probably at least theorize where some of his spots came from. But of course, Kyle Busch won the race, won the championship. MTJ finished second, so the 1, 2, 3 actually for Joe Gibbs Racing, because I'm just kind of looking at the results on my phone here. But yeah, so Kyle Busch, MTJ, and Eric Jones, 1, 2, 3 for for Joe Gibbs Racing. Kevin Harvick got 4th, 5th Logano, 6th Bowyer. Just kind of going through, looking. So Hamlin got 10th, and then I think so that's all the championship 4. So all the championship 4 ended up in the top 10, but at the end of the day, if you're not first, you're last. So, and in Denny Hamlin's case, a top 10 is dead last in the championship 4 because he was the worst off of them, even though they were all on the lead lap at the end of the day. So, congratulations, though. I'm really happy. Again, Kyle Busch fan. Got the Kyle Busch diecast over here. Got the Kyle Busch shirt. Really big Kyle Busch fan. Really excited for him. Of course, now he's got a legitimate championship because a lot of people have an asterisk next to his 2015 one because he was coming back from the injury. To be honest, I think it's more impressive that he got through with the injury, and was able to actually win it in the year with being injured at the beginning of the season. I think that's more impressive that he came back from 2 broken legs at the beginning of the season to win the championship that same year. But yeah, so let's get into some of the mistakes that kind of helped Kyle Busch win this race. And let's start off with probably the most obvious and one of the ones that looked like it was going to be the most impactful in this race. And in the end, it really didn't make a huge, earth-shattering difference. It did end up, though, helping Kyle Busch get his race win. But it was MTJ's pit crew putting the left side tires on the right side of the vehicle and vice versa. So the left side tires ended up on the right side of the vehicle, right side tires ended up on the left side of the vehicle, and I don't know how they knew without checking the tire, actually going on, taking them off and seeing that, or having a tire failure of some kind, how they knew that they did the wrong tires on the wrong side of the car, but somehow they knew and they were able to get them changed, and then got lucky with the caution to save them from losing more, to save them from staying a lap down, and of course that helped them kind of fight back to what ended up being a second place finish in the championship and a second place in the race. But again, second, not really the desired result, especially for MTJ, who had I think 6 or 7 race wins this year. I mean, when you win that many races, you want the title to go with it, but Kyle Busch, he won the regular season championship and the last 2 years, so I guess he's the deserving champion this year at least. I mean, he won the regular season championship, he won this championship, so even in Winston Cup points format, I think he still would have won. I haven't done all the math or anything to see what it would have been like without stages or anything, but I'm pretty sure that would have happened. But then there was another mistake that kind of helped, but again, we'll get into the other stuff about this one. But Denny Hamlin, his team over-taped up the grill when the nighttime started to fall, and he had an overheating issue, which caused him to lose a ton of time. Might have done some engine damage. We're not really sure at this point, like, if it damaged the engine at all in the amount of time that he stayed out there while the car was overheating. But he stayed out there a considerable amount of laps, lost a lap at one point, and then came down. He was able to battle his way back on the lead lap, but in the end, again, he had that major issue, which put him fourth out of the championship four. So, that was where the pit crew kind of messed him up. But, it's just kind of a comedy of errors that kind of built up to it. And then with Kevin Harvick and the reason that he finished fourth in this race, fourth is nothing to scoff at. But, again, when you're going for that championship, you really want to win it. And especially when you're favored over the guy that ends up winning it. But for him, I think he just stayed out too long on the old tires on the final run. And sure, he had the fresh tires, but they didn't level out or anything. So he ended up losing time to guys like Truex and Kyle Busch, who came in and pitted sooner. And that was another thing, is Truex also stayed out quite a bit longer and lost time to Kyle Busch on the racetrack, which, hey, it was his choice, and he played his strategy, and Kyle Busch got the better hand. But yeah, so those are some of the instances I think built up to this one, and I know a lot of people are not happy that Kyle Busch won, and I know a lot of people are very happy that Kyle Busch won. So, of course, this is going to be a very positive review for me, at least for the champion, because I'm a fan. But I do still have some critical points, though, to talk about with NASCAR, and I'll get into some, gripes/complaints about this race and some of the officiating behind it, because there were definitely a couple of things that raised some red flags for me. So, in the middle of stage 2, we had MTJ have his tire issue where the tires got swapped around. And while he was trying to recover from the issue there on pit road, we had the 36 of John Hunter Nemechek go spinning or sliding, and then he saved it, and we got the caution for that, which at the time I think was justifiable because he was sliding and we didn't know at the time, was he maybe about to spin out, or was he going to be able to get going back at a decent pace without someone running him over? So at the time I thought, okay, they threw the caution, whatever. But then later in the race, when Denny Hamlin had his issues, or William Byron had his fuel pressure, or his oil pressure issue, you had oil pressure. So if he lost oil pressure, that means he probably lost oil somewhere around the track. Again, if there's oil on the track, I feel like there definitely should be a caution to find it and clean it up. Also, when Denny Hamlin was literally having water leaking from his car all over the racetrack. Sure, it didn't cause an issue, and when the race stayed green and it went green the rest of the race, all fine and dandy, but I just think that if you're going to throw the caution for a car slightly, starting to spin out and then saving it, if you lose oil pressure, or if you have literal liquid flow pouring from a car onto the racetrack, even if it was only a slight spray or a mist from Denny Hamlin's car, which was almost steam at that point because, again, overheating, I still think if you're going to throw the caution for the first incident, throw the caution for the second incident as well, because it is another minor issue, but it could become something major and could cause an issue for, say, the race leader. And I even had someone in a friend group of mine mention, why were cautions like this not called at something like Roval? And if you look at average speed of Roval versus any of the ovals, the average speed is so much slower that if someone spins out, and especially at a more natural terrain road course like Watkins Glen or Sonoma, there's plenty of runoff where if someone slides out of the way, you can get back going in a reasonable amount of time. As we're at an oval like Homestead, you're clicking off laps in 35, 40 seconds, and the next car is on top of you really, really quick. even if you're at the back of the pack, you've got someone back on you very, very quick. So I think in the situation with John Henry Nemechek, the caution was fine. I just don't understand like the caution, like where they're ruling on like the fluid on track or like that kind of ruling is. I mean, maybe because it was seen, they figured nothing really built up on the racetrack. But in the Xfinity race earlier this weekend, they threw a debris caution for debris that was stuck in the wall, which I mean, I guess you throw it to take care of it, but again, if it's only a potential issue, if they get right up there against the wall, again, it's a potential issue to have liquid on the track. But they didn't throw the caution for it, so I'm just kind of confused on that part, I guess. So, yeah, that's just one of the things I wanted to kind of mention in this video as well, was that, well, yes, I absolutely loved the race myself, personally as a fan, especially a Kyle Busch fan. I really enjoyed this one. Personally, but it was certainly not the perfect race. It certainly could have been better, but the duels, like when you had Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch basically duking it out for the race lead while MTJ was having his tire, MTJ was trying to recover from his tire issues, those kinds of battles were on point, stellar. I mean, those were some of the best sequences of racing I've seen in a while. And to be honest, that is racing. Like, sure, it might have been a little bit manufactured because of some of the restarts or something. Like, the restarts are always exciting with this package, but they kept it interesting for several laps, and they kept these battles going on. And I also have got to give a shout-out to NBC and NBCSN, because while you had the big NBC, which was going to get the mainstream attention and the casual sports fans, they could tune in there and get a good coverage of the race. A sports fan like me, who's more interested in the data side of things or in the championship fight, I could go over to NBCSN, and they had it was Lee Diffie and Dale Jarrett, I think it was, basically bench racing. So they were doing minimal commentary. Most of it was padded out. Most of the commentary was padded out with driver audio from the Championship 4 on screen. At any given point, you had all four either onboard cameras or cameras trained on the Championship 4. You also had the main race broadcast. You had the running order as well as the Championship 4 order, as well as a track map that showed where on track each of the Championship 4 was at any given moment. And then they also had like a scrolling through thing on the side that said like race statistics, like 11 lead changes or 5 different leaders or how many cars were out of the race. Which, again, for a fan like me that is really interested in the statistics side of things or wants to keep up to date on the thing, like I actually had that up on my phone on the NBC Sports app while I was watching the main broadcast on the big screen, on the bigger screen TV. So, for a fan like me, I absolutely love that, and that's more for the gearhead people, which that is what, having like, if you're going to have the time slot on NBCSN open or fairly open for that, then putting that kind of thing in there, that's great. That's great for the gearheads that are more up to date on the sport and have the cable subscription. Now, for the people that don't have the cable subscription, they could go on network NBC and still watch a great coverage of the race. I mean, then you still have like the Rick Allens, and they have the more like language that's gonna appeal to the common denominator and not just purely to gearhead or race fans in particular. But again, that's seeing that the NBC, like the big NBC, the network TV audience is going to be more general, and the NBC Sports audience is going to be more of the people that are more in tune with NASCAR, more following the sport, especially when you've got them both going simultaneously. A general race fan might check NBC. Like if for some reason they check NBC Sports first, they might see that, click over to the main NBC, and then find and stay tuned into the race. Now, of course, we don't have any of the watch statistics, but I'm interested to see what the TV rating for both of those was, because I feel like that was a great way to balance out the big like gearhead sports like racing fans and the more general public and general sports fans. So once again, great job to NBC on that one. But yeah, so that's where I'm going to leave this video off for today, though. Thank you guys for watching. Yeah, if you guys want to support the channel, subscribe if you guys are new. Ring the bell so you guys get notified, because just subscribing doesn't do that, apparently. Also, links are down below in the description if you guys really want to support the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye!